We're living in a time called the Great Resignation, or reassignment, or Big Quit, the Great Reshuffle. However you want to label it, it doesn't actually matter. Finding people to work right now is hard. My background is in early childhood education and entrepreneurship. And what I'm going to share is geared towards businesses who have a team, and my stories primarily come from the early childhood education world. But really, this information will work with companies of all sizes and spanning all industries. Today, we're going to talk about leadership, communication, and building a culture for your business. We're going to look at what company culture means to you and how can you transform your program. These are really big topics when you look at the current hiring and retention climate. And before we dive into our practical tips and tricks to transform your culture, I'm going to get a little geeky on you. We are going to talk about brain science first, okay? The brain's whole job is to keep us safe. So I want you to think back to caveman times. The whole thought process was, is this safe? Or will this wipe me off the planet completely? To this day, our brains still process information the same way. So even though we carry the internet in our pocket and we have instant access to information, our brain still screens information as, is this good or is this bad? Any sensory input. Now, sensory input, they're things that we see, smell, touch, okay? So this sensory input goes through our brain, and that's the first screening. And technically, this part of the brain is called the reptilian brain. And it tells us if what we're looking at is perceived as safe or not. Newsflash, our brain perceives a lot of stuff as scary, whether there's actual risk or not. Now, if the reptilian brain perceives the situation as a risk, it shuts it down. It shuts down the rest of your brain, and you fall into a survival mode. And the survival mode is fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or fib. Okay, now some of you might be asking yourselves, why are we talking about the brain instead of where to get great deals on swag or what kind of treats people are into these days? Reflection time. I want you to think of a time you were having a conversation with a staff member or with a client, and suddenly they became defensive and completely shut down. Or maybe they just told you a bold-faced lie. This was their brain telling them to protect themselves. So, as a leader, understanding how the brain works can help us strengthen our communication skills and build better relationships with the people around us. This brings us to the foundation of working on your culture. Given that you're fair and you're providing the best wages and benefits, to the best of your ability, how we talk to our staff and clients and how they perceive the words is the foundation of building a positive company culture. So yes, t-shirts and treats and staff lounges, it's all part of the package. It's all part of building this positive culture. But the big work starts in the way you communicate with people around you. In addition to all this brain science, when we talk about communication, there are 3 human needs to consider: power, connection, and experience. So we're going to dive into these 3 as we continue what we're learning about, okay? So the brain is also designed to remember novelty. And novelty can be good or bad. And that's why people remember the fun things you do, as well as all the drama, okay? So getting back to culture and what that means to you and your business. Encouraging a positive work environment is what we're all striving for. We know that a positive environment will help boost employee morale and retain staff and keep your clients. But I like to think it goes so much further than that. It promotes a safe, healthy environment where growth is recognized. It provides respect for human beings, for people. And this is where being an entrepreneur is so much fun. You are creating a space in this world where impact is the outcome. You get to impact your employees, your clients, your community. Guys, that is so cool. You are kind of a big deal. And as we start looking at strategies to transform your business into a place where people want to be, I want you to keep in mind that how you as a leader can implement power, connection, experience for the people that you are impacting. There are a number of ways to build an amazing business culture. Time constraints today allow me to talk about 3 strategies. Okay, we're going to talk about values, autonomy, and fun. So we're going to start with values. And I know everyone always starts with values. But there's a reason for this. When you, as a leader, understand and embody the values of your organization, you are able to be clear, be decisive, act in accordance with who you are saying you are as a company. So identifying and taking action based on your values helps people feel safe and secure. Go back to that brain that we talked about earlier, right? So now, this is where your creativity and fun can come into play. I don't want you to give each staff member or client a worksheet that has your values on them, a handout, make them memorize it, quiz them on it. Boring. Make this fun. Think about the need or the human need for experience, right? When I owned the schools, we had one school, it was a large school, had 3 bathrooms, 3 adult-sized bathrooms. So funny to just differentiate between child size and adult size, but 3 adult-sized bathrooms. And March was a heavy burnout month for us. We noticed a lot of our staff were quitting in March. So we always came up with a really fun experience to do in March. So we gave the toddler community $500 and said, we created this PVMA bathroom renovation challenge. So the infant community got $500 to redo a bathroom. The toddler community got $500 to redo a bathroom. And the preschool community got $500 to redo the bathroom. So they had to come together and plan and create and buy and implement. And then we let the parents vote on which bathroom they liked the best. Okay, so we kind of did like a little play on HGTV bathroom renovations. We did it with our business. And the winners I think they got t-shirts, PVMA bathroom renovation t-shirts, and then a golden sparkly plunger, right? So we're implementing fun, we're implementing experience, and it really brought our staff and our team together. So what I want you to do today is I want you to list out all of your values and think about what they look like in action. Choose one value to act upon and keep in mind the human needs for power, connection, and experience. What can you do today to demonstrate your values for the people you impact? Okay. The next topic I hold very near and dear to my heart. I want to talk about autonomy. And autonomy is about a person's ability to act on his or her own values and interests. It's all coming together now, right? This is why knowing the values of your company when choosing people you're going to interact with, right? Whether it's employees or vendors or clients, knowing these values are so important so you can allow autonomy within your company. So to me, autonomy is the way I can show the people around me respect. Especially in a highly regulated industry like childcare, there's not a lot of wiggle room when it comes to being innovative and providing perks that the new incoming workforce is looking for, right? They're looking for flexibility. They want to work from home, those types of things. Well, in childcare, we're not able to provide those types of perks. So if we want to keep great people around us, we need to allow them to make decisions, grow their skills, and provide a space for their own personalities to shine through. Culture is all about what you as a leader create and what you as a leader allows, okay? So autonomy is something that takes training and time and accountability. It doesn't happen overnight. But once you start to implement autonomy as part of your culture, you will see massive growth in the people you invite in your circle. Remember, people have that human need for power. It's a normal, natural human need. And if you want to have a healthy environment, you have to allow your team to be a part of the decision-making process. Autonomy starts with that leadership mindset. And I want you to think about the things you're involving yourself in that you really don't need to be involved in. What is one thing you can commit to allowing your team or the people in your life some autonomy? Okay. Finally, fun. As entrepreneurs, we know that our jobs can run away with us if we're not careful. The details, the laws, the people, the money, it's enough to make the best person a little cranky. Because as human beings, our brains are set up to remember novelty. We need to provide a space for fun every single day. What can you do to inspire a culture of fun? I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. So culture is built with a foundation of communication, respect, and fun. So I'm challenging you to incorporate something capital F, capital U, capital N into your life every single day. What fun activities do you have planned in your life in the next month? And how can you encourage your team or the people involved in your organization to keep the fun going? Okay. So I do have a couple of resources to share with you today. And the first is a guide to tough conversations. This is a guide that's primarily set up for childcare providers, but you can adapt the information to your field. This works great for even having parenting conversations. So it takes you through some of the brain science stuff that we talked about. It gives you a really great graphic of the 3-part brain and breaks down the information even further. Then it goes on to describe scenarios, what's happening in the brain, and the solution. So this guide is incredibly valuable when it comes to communicating with the people we want to impact. And the next resource that I'm going to share with you is a leadership course that I'm facilitating starting in June. And this course is called the Conscious Leadership Camp. And it's an 8-week course. We show up every day for 8 weeks for about 20 to 30 minutes, pop on for a training session on mindset, habits, communication, operations, staff training, development. This course is so transformational for attendees. And I know the idea of showing up daily for 40 days is pretty intense, but the only way change happens is by putting in the work. And that's what we do at the Conscious Leadership Camp. Okay, you guys, we have covered a handful of stuff in a short amount of time. So the one thing I want you to walk away with is that you get to create the space in this world where impact is the outcome. You impact your employees, your clients, your community. That's big work. So Thank you so much for your time. And of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to me through the Conscious Leadership Camp, through the Tough Conversations Guide, or find me on social media. I love to connect. It's one of my values.